Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So usually I would do a spoiler video, or maybe we will be preparing for a Black Clover review, but unfortunately today I don't think that's going to happen, or maybe it may happen tonight, but I'll be on the lookout for that. However, I thought to just make this video because I haven't really given my opinion on the new Black Clover arc that's going to happen as far as like in the anime, or rather it is already happening, and I'm just going to give my honest opinions about it, and it may be good and it may be bad, just to let you guys know. So to start off, when I first heard the news of Black Clover episode 158, and it was going into, of course, the Spade Kingdom arc, I really had like some serious high hopes. And I'm not saying that I don't now. I mean, granted, it's probably maybe about like 5% lower. But the reason why I had so much, just high hopes, or rather why I have high hopes for it now, is because, this arc could really push it over the edge to really have more manga sales. Now, as far as the manga sales for Black Clover at the moment, it's not exactly bad. Like, it's not bad. It's not horrible. However, it definitely could improve. And so the reason why we as Black Clover fans should look forward to at least, this arc is because this could boost sales in the manga, and therefore because it's going to boost sales in the manga, that could lead to Black Clover going further than we expect it to be, because some people may expect it to be up to like 400 chapters or 500, but it could possibly go up to 600 if it goes well. However, after I watched episode 158, I noticed a few things that were kind of like off, I would suppose. And I know that different characters are drawn especially different in different scenes. However, this right here kind of really like blew my mind, because I believe when I read the guidebooks, Noel's about 5'3". Asta would be around 5'1", at least now that he's 17. Mimosa, I believe she's a little bit shorter than Noel. However, right here in this panel, she looks like she's like 6'9". She looks like she's LeBron James compared to like Asta. And so this kind of just me nitpicking a little bit. It's like, of course, you realize the studio parent is not going to give Black Clover the best production all the time. And that's kind of one of the things that people criticize long-running animes, because, when you are a part of a long-running series and you're one of the animators, you're really stressed out a lot. And that's the one thing that I will have to say, is that regardless of my criticisms of this episode, the animators do have to work hard on it every single week. And I believe that they did take a break for the holidays. But one of the things that I just realized throughout this whole entire episode is that, number one, it was overhyped. It wasn't overhyped as far as, the story and what it's about, because, of course, if you read the manga, you know what it's going to be about. But we expected the animation, at least for me in general, I expected it to be 100% the whole entire episode. And I think that's just me having unrealistic expectations, maybe as like a fan. But when you see panels like this, it just kind of bothers you a little bit. And that's not to say that Boruto or some of the other high-running animes don't have scenes like this. But when you compare it to Demon Slayer and the animation, it's like, come on. Like, I know that Black Clover can be given more money to have better quality animation, because this is just kind of ridiculous. I'm sorry. Like, especially with the way the funeral looks. And again, guys, I know that a lot of the reason for this is just because they're so stressed out, and sometimes they have to outsource their animators from different countries even. And I understand that. However, it just bothers me as a Black Clover fan, because if Black Clover is going to get to the heights of greatness, which it definitely can, the animation has to be top tier. And so they have to figure out a way to have the animation become better just over time, because there are a lot of, really great fights coming up, especially when we look at Asta versus Dante, when we look at Xenon versus Yuno, Noel versus Vonica, and all the fights in between. We want that to be very high quality, because that's what's going to translate to higher manga sales, which then translates to more money for the Black Clover series, and Yukitsubata being able to use and get more resources. And so I'll just have to say that, like, episode 158, it was kind of overhyped, and I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10. But I guess the way that they were overhyping is the way that it was just presented. We were thinking, oh my gosh, this is about to just blow us away. And I think that that's in general, like, most animes are kind of overhyped to a certain extent, because when we did, get, of course, the time skip for the Black Clover manga series, that wasn't overhyped. And I think that with manga, that's just the advantage, is that, Yuki Tabata, he can control how well his helpers or drawers draw certain panels and what he dictates to as far as like what effort he's going to put into certain panels. Because as a manga artist, sometimes you don't really see that a lot because there's only like a certain amount of pages that they have to draw, and some spreads aren't really well done. But then when you look at like One Punch Man, the manga is simply just beautiful. Like, that's the one thing I will have to say, is that it's not an ongoing one, but at the same time, it's like legitly every other month that it's out is putting out amazing art. And I'm not saying that Yuki Tabata doesn't produce amazing art, because he does. Like, generally shonen is kind of iffy when it comes to art sometimes, because I've seen some panels from Naruto when I would go back and look at it, I'm like, my gosh, like this looks kind of bad. So again, with a shonen series, when you're really pressed for time every single week to produce a new chapter, it's not always in your best interest to dictate whole hours worth of drawings when you just have to get the story out the way and get everything in place. And just to touch on the last bit of a disappointing part about this episode is that some of the like scenes from the manga, they just cut out entirely. Like when Asta does his black slash in the episode, you kind of see it, but then in the manga, you fully see it. And so now to the good things. Now, the one main thing that I loved about this episode is that when the art was good, it wasn't just good, it was great. It was like amazing. And so you can definitely tell that's kind of what we're going to see in future episodes. However, they have like different directors during these episodes, so most likely we aren't going to get to see the same director for maybe Asta versus Dante, and they may be using the same director for, I believe, the Asta and Yuno versus Lit fight. Like, even still to this day, that's the best animated fight that I've ever seen in the Black Clover series. That's the best animation that I've ever seen, even over this episode, as far as Black Clover and the culmination of episodes that we've seen for the past 2 years. Now, I know that in terms of speaking about the future for the Black Clover anime, what's going to happen. So I have heard some rumors that eventually this is going to go on hiatus and may go seasonal. Now, I think that that's pretty good. The reason why I say that is because once we kind of get the Dante fight out the way and the Xenon and the Ivanica, we have consumed a lot of great fights in this just Spade Kingdom arc. And the Spade Kingdom arc is not even done. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not saying arc, fully well. It may sound like I'm saying art, but I mean arc. But the Spade Kingdom arc, is pretty amazing as far as the fights that we're getting, and it's not even done yet. So I'll be pretty satisfied if we get those 3 fights and we especially see like the ending. It would be just amazing. That's a good way to go on hiatus. But in general, I would give this episode a 8 out of 10. And I would definitely say that they did an amazing job for what they could do. Again, this is a ongoing anime, and so it's kind of hard to expect that to have the same type of quality as a seasonal anime. But hopefully eventually they find some type of middle ground for this Black Clover series so that it goes to the greatness that it needs to go to. But anyway, guys, that does it for me today as far as talking about my thoughts about the latest Black Clover episode. 159 was cool. I didn't think it was as well animated as, of course, 158. However, again, we're going to see some amazing fights coming up, so I just can't wait to see it. And as always, guys, make sure if you're new to subscribe and comment down below, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. And as always, make sure you stay safe and peace.